Okay guys, today we're going to have a quick look at a standard commercial defrost timer. Looking at the data on this one, you can see it's 208 240 volt with 40 amp capacity on the contacts. There's one normally open contact, one normally closed, and defrost is either temperature or pressure initiated or time initiated. Pressure is something that's not used too commonly anymore, but both time and temperature are, and we'll look at those as we go on. This is a look at the actual face of a standard defrost timer. You can see right now the time is pointing at 6 o'clock, so let's say we're getting to this thing at 6 o'clock and we're going to have a look to see what's going on with the unit. An easy way to check to see if the timer motor is working on this is to come straight across to this center dial, and if you look closely at that center dial, it's got minutes on it. So if it's at 90 right now, check your watch, continue doing what you're doing, and come back to it 10 minutes later. It should be at 100. It's an easy way to check the function of the motor and make sure this thing's actually turning as it should. Also on the outside of this dial, you can see there's holes. Right now there's a pin in one of the holes. Typically when you take it out of the box, there's spare pins, 3 of them, and this holder. Those are the pins that set the timer into defrost. So that's when it goes into defrost. And I'm just going to turn it to 8 here so you can see the function of this defrost mechanism. You can see this arm right here begin to work its way out. That's just the contacts getting into place for defrost. And we're not quite to defrost there. Boom, that's defrost right there. And again, take a note, you're at 2 minutes. You can check time later when it's going to make sure that it's functioning. On the outside of this middle dial, there is another arrow. That's the actual length of time for defrost. Well, right now we're just about 33 minutes for defrost is what we're allowing. You can take that pin, push down on it, and turn it to where you think it needs to be. So right now we'd have a 45-minute defrost. That's the time initiated portion of the defrost cycle. When you set defrost times, you want to make sure that the time it goes into defrost is not a high volume time for the piece of equipment. So if it's a walk-in freezer and this place you're working at is going to have a high noon hour rush, you don't want to have a defrost at lunch. You want to have it before or after so that the box keeps down to temperature. Looking at the contact portion of this, you can see that there's various terminals. They're all labeled 1, 2, 3, 4, neutral, and X. Between 1 and 2 there's a brass bar. There's a circuit completed by that. So if you've got wires connected at 1 and nothing here, you still have to make sure that this terminal is tightened down. I've seen them burn up around this terminal because a screw was left loose, and that destroys the whole time clock. For what these terminals do, you can look in the cover. The cover has a very simple wiring diagram that shows how the unit operates. The timer motor up here is between terminals 1 and N, so it's getting power continuously. Then you've got set of normally open contacts on terminal 3, set of normally closed contacts on terminal 4. On X is a solenoid. That's what terminates defrost on a installed temperature termination. So this is an option, the temperature termination. Most commercial freezers are going to make use of that. you don't want to have the box in defrost longer than it needs to. So those contacts, you can see, close a circuit between N and X. All you're doing is taking a thermostat of some sort, saying that if the coil gets to this temperature, we're going to close here, energize this solenoid, and it will kick at a defrost. Looking at that as well, you've got to remember you've still set a defrost on this timer. So if for some reason 40 minutes, say 25 minutes goes by and the X terminal still hasn't kicked it at a defrost, this timer will. Okay, what we're going to do now is pull the actual mechanism out of the box and have a look at the back of it. That's done simply by pulling out on this arm and lifting up on this side of the motor. And out it comes. This is a look at the back of the timer. Right here we have the timer motor. That's what's getting energized 24 hours a day. This right here is the termination solenoid that's powered by the X terminal. That will kick it at a defrost based on the installation of a thermostat in the coil to say it's time to come out of defrost. The coil's warm enough, there should be no ice left. And then you've got contacts, normally open and normally closed, right here. And they're controlled by a swing arm that's a little bit hard to see right there. This swing arm moves back and forth to move those contacts based on where we saw the mechanism go up front here on a defrost time.